Hi, everyone. This is Samee Zafar from Edgar, Dunn Company. And today we have our guest and my friend, Amir Wain, who is logging on from the Pacific Coast in San Francisco. So, Amir, thank you for taking the session so early your time. Although I know you're a fitness and a golf guy, so you're probably up much earlier than 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So, how are you doing, Amir?
Great. And thank you very much, Samee, for this opportunity to be on your podcast. I do know that Edgar Dunn puts out a lot of good leadership content, and would love to discuss the latest and greatest trends in AI, which is top of mind for a lot of our partners and clients and so on. So looking forward to the session.
Wonderful. Amir, would you mind just giving like literally a 10-second intro about the company and yourself? Just a very brief one.
Sure. I think I would call myself a serial entrepreneur. i2C is the third company I started about 25 years ago. So this year we are celebrating 25th anniversary of i2C. The difference is i2C from the very start was more customer-centric platform. And it's not a buzzword, but really a financial institution can run all products and use cases off a single global platform. So if you want to do deposits, if you want to do lending, typical credit card use cases, debit cards, all of a single platform. And the value prop there is that it takes out the complexity of integration and having to deal with 15 different platforms to run a financial institution. And if you are a small and a mid-sized bank, for you to deal with so many pieces and the integration and so on becomes very challenging, and at the same time limits your ability to innovate and grow and offer the latest and greatest to your clients. So that's at the heart of...
Is this So it is multi-product, but is it also multi-jurisdiction, multi-country, so you can have the regulations of different markets in there?
Exactly. So the abstraction and design, one of our design principle has been, wherever we get to a decision point, we don't make a decision, but code in all the options and put in a configuration parameter there. So using that design element, we run single source code that is supporting consumers across 200 countries and territories. The benefit of that is, as we do releases, one release gets deployed across the globe. So all our R&D efforts are on a single platform. We recently saw an earnings call from Fiserv where the stock dropped about, over 45%. And one of the things they talk about was reducing the number of core platforms from 15 to 5, because it's been very difficult for them to manage their so many different platforms that they have. They grew through acquisition, so one capability in this platform, one capability in this platform, and all of that starts catching up. So there's a lot of realization of the benefits of the design that i2C started with, to have customer at the center of the platform and not be bound by product constructs. Because more and more products will evolve. When BNPL came out, we didn't have to do any work. That was a configuration of a use case in the existing platform.
Wonderful. And is it? Is your clientele more banks, more fintechs, or is it a mix across, or is it different in different countries?
Yeah. So the good thing is, again, I think our ability, because of the design and flexibility of the platform, allows us to service different segments. So today we have 3 primary customer segments that we serve. One of them, financial institutions, banks and credit unions, and we have them across all the globe. Then we have large fintechs that are trying to come up with better user experiences, etc. Crypto.com is one of the clients. Payoneer also does disbursement throughout the globe as one of our clients. And then third segment is government payments. The government payments is slightly different because government needs a more baked and fully managed sort of a solution. And we do payments for government of Abu Dhabi. We've done payments for government of Canada and also Brazil, foreign, multi-currency payments, etc. So 3 different segments, all of them being serviced through the single platform across all geographies, across all products. And that is really, Samee, a very unique position that we have in the industry. And I would add one more layer, which is celebrating 25 years. So what you get with i2C is not just a modern next generation platform, but you also get the reliability, dependability, demonstrated performance of 25 years.
Perfect. So let's go on to the topic for today, which is every conference that I go to, every seminar, they're talking about AI.
Mm-hmm.
Countries have actually reconfigured their strategies around AI, and I'm a big fan. I think anybody who started using ChatGPT a couple of years ago, who didn't know anything about AI, was so impressed. Is that somebody talking to them, writing better essays than them, right? And it's not a search. It's almost like asking a sage about something who has all the knowledge and has also the intellect to give you some good advice. Now, so obviously, because of ChatGPT and what's been happening, there has been a lot of hype in the industry. Now, AI is something people think, my God, it's going to make people, redundant. They're going to take jobs away. We're going to enter into a scene straight from the movie Blade Runner. Just all those sort of things have sort of come up. So, what, in your opinion, if we look at the next 3 years, is hype versus reality, particularly from a point of view of payments and online commerce? Do you think it's going to radically reshape it in the next 3 years? Or are we talking about improvements and enhancements?
Right. I do think the conversations that people are having are relevant and timely, because AI could be an existential threat to a lot of businesses. But another way to look at it is it could be a great opportunity. It could be the big equalizer that can give small to medium enterprises an opportunity to compete with the big ones, right? So it's both. It's an opportunity and it's a threat. Mm-hmm. I've been, having discussions on AI for over a year, and just the amount of progress that has taken place, Samee, over the last year is amazing. I started talking about, rather than, artificial intelligence, augmented intelligence, where we were to leverage it and use it in our day-to-day work to be more productive as humans and human in the loop. But now we are beginning to see developments where more autonomous systems, maybe not generic for all purposes, but we are certainly moving towards autonomy in some cases. So there has never been a technology where development and adoption has been at the rate that we are seeing in AI. So 3 years could be an extremely long time. The product cycles and the feature cycles are really, really compressing, because it's building on top of every previous major thing we have done. We had PCs, and then came internet, which made PCs more useful. Then came mobile revolution, and then cloud. And AI is building on every single one of those stacks. That's why the ChatGPT 100 million users under 2 months, because all the other distribution channel usage, etc., was there. So I do expect that this will definitely accelerate, and we will see adoption at rates that we have not seen before. Does it mean all the humans will become redundant and irrelevant? I don't think that is the scenario, but we will definitely see the low-hanging fruit being addressed through AI in a more efficient way. So from a business perspective, I think you got to start with, okay, AI is coming. What do I do with it? How do I use it? You have to think about AI in your business context, right? As a leader, I am thinking about efficiency, differentiation, right? How do I differentiate my product, and how do I service my customers efficiently? If I can keep doing that, I'll be a healthy business. So thinking about how does AI help me differentiate in my business is something that the leadership should start with, because if you start getting into the LLM discussion and this and that, you lose the overarching. You have to set yourself a vision, and the vision has to start with, what are my business objectives, right? And I would say you can determine your own, but two big buckets would be higher efficiency and differentiation. How do I leverage AI to do that? And then you can start from there. Mm-hmm. I think it's also very important to realize that this is not once done type of a project. I need to build a fence around my house and, okay, got a contractor, done, it's built. This is a continuously evolving sort of exercise, and it's a discipline that you would need to build into your organization. You don't need to reinvent. You don't need to have your own LLMs. You don't need to have data scientists. That's why I said start with the business objectives, because there is so much happening and there's so many good pieces being made available and solution components being made available that if you focus on your own business objectives and use some good partners, you will be able to get the benefits and start capturing value of AI. I wouldn't call it hype. I would say the time, every technology has a time. AI has been there for a long time. We had neural networks, all sorts of, then NLP came in to a certain extent. Then LLM, the language model, was huge, but had issues, still have issues. Models are trained on 6-month-old data. If you wanted to ask ChatGPT who won the World Series, they won't know because the model has not been trained. So they added something called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. So while it will look at the LLM, but it will also do queries for real-time data and so on. So problems have surfaced and people have come up with solutions to those. Are all those solutions 100% perfect? No, but they are moving in the right direction at a fairly high pace. So it is a reality. I think the sooner we start accepting and putting an agenda together for us, the better it is. But the top of the agenda has to be, what does it do for me? Don't get caught up in the tech. Focus on what does it do for me, and chase answers to those questions.
Perfect. That sounds great, and I think it's the same thing about how if there is something new, the question is how you use it, right? That's the key thing. And also, if there are going to be some changes in job descriptions or losses in some jobs, there will be new opportunities, new different types of jobs that are coming up. So some people may have to retrain, and doesn't mean that they will just lose their
Sure.
livelihood or whatever. But coming on to you said that I think that's great, because you need to keep your eye focused on how do you use AI to set yourself apart from others, so differentiate, and just do better at what you're doing, right? So deliver better. So that's the efficiency side. So in terms of concrete examples, where do you think there could be an application for financial services or fintech clients? For example, people talk about, I think we also talked last time we spoke about customer service. So using AI in enhancing your so that your agent actually is able to serve your customers and learn from similar issues in the past. So right now, when you go to an agent, and it's just absolutely useless. You have a problem on your computer, you go, oh, hi, I am this and this and this. Ask me a question. It's completely useless.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you think that's a key area that people can look at first?
Yeah, I think it is one of the areas. I wouldn't say the key area, but it's a very obvious area and I think we are more ready today in that area to take care of that. I mean, fraud is there, compliance, there are other areas where a lot of value can be added. But customer service, look, I've been on calls with Chase, BOA, top banks, and on the phone for 15 minutes, whole times, before I can get to someone, right? So if you are able to, not just a chat that says, okay, what do you want to hear? What do you want to know? And I will connect you to an agent. That is a very initial and very basic, layer that doesn't solve the problem. So yeah, it's okay, but I'm not advocating for that. I'm talking about agent that can not only converse with you, understand your problem, should be able to empathize with you, and then be able to take actions to solve your problem. First call resolution. Can I, as a digital agent, solve your problem on the call? Right? So there are some challenges in it. One of it is we have moved from LLM, which was the generative AI, where content is being generated by artificial intelligence tools, to what we call agentic AI. And I think it's important to understand because the agentic component is delivering real value. So agentic AI vis-a-vis LLM or generative AI, I'll just say that there are 4 steps in agentic AI. One is perception. How do you gather the context and information? Then reasoning. The reasoning part is the LLM part, right? Then comes action. We run into trouble when it gets to action. Because let's say, you call there's been a fraud on your card, you need to get a replacement card issued. Now, the LLM could take you through steps, but it can't block your old card. It can't reissue your old card. Those actions are not possible by LLM. That's where you need an agentic AI tool. But then the tool is there. I do need to call an API of the core system to block a card, to reissue a card. And the problem is a lot of legacy systems exist as your infrastructure. So while you may think about putting on an AI layer, the AI layer, when they want to do the action, the underlying system, the legacy systems don't support that. So some of the problems people are running into and that they need to solve is actually change the underlying infrastructure. Upgrade the underlying infrastructure to more event-driven so the agentic AI can be fully integrated. And the fourth component is learning, where the experience and quality of service is continuously going up. So it's not just action, it's action and improvement, which is part of the cycle, which makes agentic AI very, very powerful. So these agentic AI, I wouldn't call them chatbots, but digital agents, they are improving their performance through every interaction. And customer service has 2 problems. Number one, human scalability is very difficult. Handling spikes of load is very difficult. Why do I have 15-minute wait time with BOA when they have the resources? Because I just happen to call at a time when their load is 3 times normal load, right? And human beings are not scalable. And cost and training and compliance. And someone has a fight at home, are they empathetic to the client? Those are very, very difficult things to manage. And so this is a very good basic application. Now, a small bank that can't afford 24/7 customer service can easily compete and say 24/7, customer service available. And if the agents can do first call resolution, they have happy customers. So
yes,
that's one of the ways. examples.
Right, and lots of queries will be resolved in the first or the second interaction.
Absolutely.
And as you say, that there is no limit to how many agents you can have.
Yeah, exactly.
And just make, at least pick up the phone immediately and deal with it immediately and then escalate. That's great. Now, if we go to online commerce and e-commerce, so, we it's just growing and growing thanks to COVID and we all use some form of home delivery, or we buy things and we pick them up or whatever. You've got the super apps in Asia Pacific, in Latin America, that just do everything and make the tea for you, right? Which we don't have them, these super apps you could say in Europe or North America, because you have specialist apps doing, different things. And one thing I was thinking is is it possible that with agentic AI, maybe there will be now apps who might be, or maps or a browser that would be able to do all the things that you want in one place, rather than you going to one place to book your flight, one to hotels, the other to order, something else. Do you think that's a possibility going forward?
Absolutely. And I would call them your digital assistant, right? Long time ago, there was a software that came out called Sidekick.
Yes, I remember.
This is DOS days, but such a useful tool, right? You could bring it up and you can take notes and do things, and very basic implementation of what a little assistants can do. So think of a digital assistant that you get for $4.99 a month or $10.99 or whatever, and speaks multiple languages, is very good at doing specs of a telescope, and also knows how to, look for best travel deals, etc. So I do see that the personal assistant space is going to really, really see a lot of development and will make all of us extremely productive. And I'm quite excited about that opportunity. We're going to see more and more of that coming up. There'll be you'll see, just like any emerging market, there'll be people who will have agents who are good at one particular thing, two things, three things, and the dust will settle, and you will eventually maybe see some of these type of things become more of an infrastructure play. Like iOS and Android became the OS. I foresee that some of this digital assistant capabilities, it's just going to end up being in one of the platforms, Google, Microsoft, and that's where it's going to be.
So the other obvious follow-up question to that would be that would some merchants fear that they're losing the customer relationship, customer understanding, because you're talking to the agent now? All those loyalty, I don't know. I mean, all the advertisements or the way to retain customers, that game is going to change, or they just maybe threaten that somebody who is better in handling those agents, may steal a march on them.
Yeah, I think the information arbitrage is going to go away. So people will have to deliver value, and advertising to build brand preferences, unless it's like, there are categories where brands will always matter because it's the personal association. You're not paying 10 times the cost of a handbag because, the leather is any better than what you can get at 1/10. It's just the brand. And so some of that, will stay. But like, you being, interested in telescopes, you wanted to find a good telescope which has all the capabilities and features. You will be able to find even a smaller manufacturer that has better specs. So the information arbitrage will go away and the buying will become more efficient. So what it means to service providers and, goods providers is to really focus on core value in their product. Otherwise, it'll become just the talk piece, and is just going to not protect or help them win some business. So good for everyone.
And also, as you say, brand image and value is not going to go away, because that overrides everything, right? When you pay high prices, there's people buy, for example, bags, right? From a top brand for like thousands of dollars more, and they're probably made in the same factory somewhere. It's just the brand is the difference. So the brand image will still be there. It's a question of maybe using AI to promote your brand in different ways.
Absolutely. And look, I mean, shopping is an experience, a dopamine rush for people. So there's some things that, while I would want my digital assistants to order my dog food and toothpaste, etc., some of the things, it's the experience that people want to go through and so on. So it's not the end of, commerce, and it's just agentic or digital agents. But I certainly see the low day-to-day routines just being handled better.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to buy toilet paper, you just say, okay, I want this brand and this much, and I'm willing to pay this much price. Just get it to me. That's it. No, that's great. So now, in terms of what can be done by, let's say, merchants, for example, or fintech companies in actually implementing something, because right now it's just so much confusion out there. There's so much noise. Everybody's coming up with a protocol. There is everybody's. If you look at the marketing brochures of companies, they're all changing to incorporate AI now, just like they incorporated blockchain about a few years ago. So what would your advice be, let's say, if I am a fintech company, right? So I've got retail customers, I have to sell them stuff, and I issue cards for them, or I have a loyalty program, or whatever. What can they do in terms of immediate next steps? Where can they invest?
Yeah, I would say, again, going back to start with the business objective. Identify what in your space is the differentiation that you can create. What do you think your customers really value, and how do you differentiate from them?
No, that's a business exercise. We're not talking about a tech exercise here.
Right. So once you do that, and you look at your operating expenses and you see where are the areas where you can take cost out, and at the same time improve quality of service and scalability. If you want to scale your business, it starts taking off. So you identify those hot spots, and that should really guide you to set your agenda. That's why, if I say do this, it can't be good for everyone. It is very, very business specific. People understand their businesses very well. A lot of people understand their ideal customer profile, what their needs are. And I'm saying you are in great position to leverage AI, because that's the first step. Identify what is important to your business. And then let's go looking for a solution. How do I implement this? And there you will find new capabilities and new tools to solve those problems very efficiently. Second word of caution would be, don't set the frame by how you do things, because then you're limiting yourself to start with. So you have to start with an open frame where you say, whatever is possible, what could I do? So when you ask those questions about differentiation and efficiency, don't limit yourself by your existing frame. Right? Think broad, and then start coming back to what can be done today.
Right.
Implement that as a pilot, do learning, and go through that continuous improvement loop.
Yes, and differentiation could be that you're not coming up with a mousetrap that nobody has ever seen or a product that is completely unique. It could be something as simple as all your calls will be answered, just going back to our customer service. All your calls will be answered at the second ring. Just that little thing can differentiate you from others.
Absolutely. And look, there is another thing that AI is helping us do. Large companies had the budgets and the resources to build data warehouses and data lakes and analytics team that run analytics. Now, you can just simply ask a question and it can develop insights from your data. So it has taken out a whole lot of layers that you needed to deal with to get meaningful insights. So that's another huge area that people can leverage and benefit from using AI. So micro trends, how do I make each experience very specific to the caller? The existing infrastructure just doesn't allow me. I may have a VIP flow, I may have a normal customer flow, maybe 3 flows. But if I can have a custom flow for every individual who I'm interacting with, every customer, then I can have truly, we've talked about personalization and experiences, but that's all been concept and talk. I'm saying now we have the infrastructure to really get down to micro trends and service our customers as individuals. And that could be a huge differentiation.
Absolutely. And finally, on payments, so we've been hearing about tokenization and from the card schemes and others that that's the way forward to manage agentic commerce, for example. Is that you think that's excuse me, that's the right approach? That's the easiest because you already have the infrastructure to leverage.
Exactly. So that's what, as I said, a lot of existing. We are building on a lot of existing technology. Why try to reinvent? Tokenization is already there. You can specify a domain. You can have certain permissions linked to a token and so on. So it's a good use of tokenization as you think about agentic commerce to leverage that. It's tried, tested, it's at scale, it's working, and offers protection. So it's definitely.
And what do you think about virtual cards? Would they find an application as well?
Well, it's in a way it's a token. I mean, if depending on it's a one-time use or how you doing it, I think of it as a token. It'll basically be replaced with a token.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you, Amir, for your time. It's been extremely. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you about AI for 2 hours, but hopefully we'll do that over lunch or coffee next time you cross the pond. So, thank you very much again.
Yeah, thank you, Samee. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.